Imagine how great it would be to be fluent in a new language this year. But like a kid in a sweet shop, there are so many options to choose from. Maybe you dream of traveling around France, exploring the streets of Paris, or perhaps you see yourself chatting with your taxi driver as you make your way through Shanghai. But whilst you're thinking about starting different languages, you're not actually making any progress. So how do you overcome this choice overload and pick which language to learn so you can finally focus and start to level up? In this video, I shall show you how to pick which language to learn, the essential factors which you might not have thought about, and the mindset shift that you need to actually be successful. Hi. If you're new here, my name's Matt and I'm learning Spanish and Mandarin, and I make videos about language learning, mindset and practical tips to help you reach fluency. If that sounds like your sort of thing, then hit subscribe and check out some of the other videos I've got on the channel. Also, I've written a summary of this video which you can download from the link in the description if you prefer to read through the ideas here to help you make the right decision. So, you've watched a million videos on the internet and it seems like everybody knows a gazillion languages and you're just trying to get started. Honestly, the internet can make you feel like you're the only person who hasn't become a polyglot by lunchtime. Although to some people it might seem obvious which language to pick. That's not always the case. You want to make sure that you're happy with your decision instead of getting started and changing your mind later. Now, I'm going to ask you a few questions and your answers are crucial to your long-term success. When you imagine yourself knowing a new language, what image is conjured up in your head? What sorts of experiences and connections do you want to have through knowing a new language? Are you sitting at a cafe in Rome, ordering an espresso in perfect Italian? Are you chatting about Japanese manga without needing a translation? Or are you just impressing your friends by randomly dropping phrases like "Que sera, sera" at dinner parties? Don't be that guy. The picture doesn't have to be travel or interacting with people. It can be enjoying books, films, podcasts. I'm mentioning this because the first key factor is that you need to find your why. Without a strong reason why, you're not going to have enough motivation to keep you going long term. Not only that, but you'll see more progress the longer you can focus on one language rather than jumping around. What if you're really not sure to start off with? I would do two things. Now, you're not going to be picking a language out of thin air. You probably have an idea of at least 2 or 3 languages that you're choosing from. Do a bit of research on the culture or history of countries that speak that language. Is there anything that calls out to you? Maybe the idea of traveling to a particular country appeals to you, or just finding out more about the culture there. By learning the language, you have a much deeper connection and richer experience of anywhere that you want to visit. Another thing that will help you that isn't fancy, but hear me out on this one. Start writing a basic list of pros and cons. I don't know about you, but sometimes when I've started to do something like that, just the process of writing out the list has helped to confirm to me what I really did want after all, instead of needing to count out both sides of the list to see which has more. Worst case scenario, you can always just dabble a little in a few languages and see which one you like most and then continue with that one. Fortunately, one place you can do that is Skillshare, which has a lot of courses under one subscription. If you haven't heard of Skillshare, firstly, where have you been? It's a site with loads of courses, including various languages. Just to mention a few, they've got Spanish, French, Japanese, Chinese, Korean, and loads more. Just take a look. That way you can dip your toes into a few languages before deciding which to stick with. You won't have to fork out money on loads of textbooks or large courses. It's all under one subscription. What's more, there's also actually a free trial, so you can try out the languages for free just to see which one you want to continue with. And whilst they have a number of courses in different languages, they also have literally thousands of courses on other topics like health, productivity, cinematography, etc. I've used it to learn about filming and lighting, which you are seeing the results of right now. It's genuinely worth having a look at and making use of the free trial to see if you want to level up your skills. The first 500 people to join Skillshare using my link will get 1 month premium free. So check out the link in the description. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Before you get carried away, there are a couple of other things that are important to take into account when you make your decision. What sort of material is available for each language? Now, this isn't the most important thing, which we'll get onto in a minute, but your life will be so much harder if you can't find great YouTube channels, podcasts for learners of the language. If there's loads of content available at different levels, you can just naturally pick up the language over time as you slowly increase the difficulty levels. It's not about memorizing words if you don't want to. So the more content you can find available for learners will give you options in the future and also keep it interesting if you get bored of, say, one particular resource. I would do some Googling, check out Reddit threads for learners of that language and see what other learners are doing. In learning a language, what we're trying to do is build more structures in our brain of all the new words and sentence patterns, and you're going to need to get exposed to a lot of the language to allow your brain to do that. The easiest way to do that is using content aimed at learners about the level you can understand, maybe just above. If there isn't that much content available, it's still doable, but you have fewer options to find things you enjoy, so take that into account. But what if, like the kid in the sweetie shop, you want to have your cake and eat it? I'll talk about that. But who has cake and doesn't eat it? Like, genuinely, what are you going to do with it? I've always wondered that. Anyway, if you're struggling still and you're really not sure or you're on the fence, it's not one and done. You can always make some progress and pick up another language in the future. But the longer you decide which one now, the longer it is until you actually get started. This isn't your final choice. It just has to be good enough for now. And to be honest, whatever language you pick will help out any languages in the future that you want to learn because you'll have stronger habits and greater experience. Bear in mind that you don't have to master the language either. You can just enjoy it for a bit, that's absolutely fine. But the more you divide your focus between different options, the less progress you're going to make in any one language. So, whilst we can debate what the most important thing is, something that is essential is that no one else is responsible for your language learning and progress. I haven't got time to ring all of you up and check that you've done something with the language every day. Look, you have to figure out how to make this work with your daily routine, and you can do that, believe me. So whilst having enough resources will make your life easier, what's more important is having the drive to learn a language and overcome any obstacle in the process. It is easy to blame external factors for a lack of progress, but it's how you react to those and what you decide to do. You just have to take that first step. So if Spanish is something that you're considering, then this next video will give you a rundown of some of the resources available, and hopefully that will help you in your decision making.